Hello, my name is Rasmus, and I thought I'll just make a short presentation on going from problem to potential, something I call the power of potential, and then just a quick introduction to the work on sustainability, how I see it with in the scope of going the potential way of using sustainability. So let's dive into it. I'm just going to share my screen. So this is the presentation that I'm also going to do on Thursday, just for those of you who was not there. As I said, I call the presentation that I have is called The Power of Potential, and it's just a short introduction by me, Rasmus Petersen, and I work at Sealand. I'm an associate professor at the Sealand Academy of Technology and Business. I work as a project manager in an Interreg project called the Dannelsesregion, in German Bildungsregion. And I'm also the owner of a company called Vibe and Tone, which you can Google and find Vibe and Tone. Going from a problem to potential, this is basically because I think the whole power of this thing is we work in a society that is very problem oriented. Our whole academia is very centered around problem, and it makes sense that we have problem statements, that we get a good understanding of problems. The way I usually say it is the value of understanding a problem is so significant that the more you understand the problem, the easier it is to create solutions. It's not hard to create solutions, but it's hard creating solutions that matter, that fit into the whole scheme of things, and that is in correlation to the problem. So getting a really good understanding of the problem is not what I'm against, but what I'm against is that it has a tendency to you solve the problem and the next problem arises. Therefore, when I work, I usually don't work so much with problems anymore. It's still part of my universe, but I'm much more interested in working with the potential. And that's a matter of shifting the focus, going from problem to potential. And this is usually something that makes it so much more collaborative and much more systemic. As you can see under problem, I said design thinking. When it comes to systemic design thinking, which I'm a huge fan of systemic design thinking, it's about understanding that things are not created in a vacuum, but actually it's part of a larger, it's part of a system or many systems, many ecosystems, many systems. It's part of a society. It's part of a lot of different networks. And then what I usually find is it's also looking beyond the problem and actually and getting a better understanding on what might arise, what is more. I mean, it's not only fixing the problem, but actually seeing the bigger picture, and then also being able to reframe it and zooming in, zooming out. Those are terms from systemic design thinking. I would say there are three benefits to this approach working with potentials, and this is something that it takes a lot of time for people to go from problem to potential. It took me like a year to get this better understanding of it, but now it's all that I work with, and I can see three benefits, and this is from a practical point of view. These are not something that I've read, but these are just some of my experience working with it. So when you work with with potential, it expands the solution. So it unlocks a broader picture. So as it says here, it surpasses the initial scope. It not only fixes the problem, but it actually transforms the whole system. It actually transforms everything, so it becomes something so much more, and therefore you get something that is so much more vibrant, so much more energetic, and something that is something that we weren't aware that we actually were going to do. Then it's also encourages this collaborative environment, so a collective spirit by identifying other stakeholders, other people who might see this. And it's also better when you work with potential to attract other people to be part of it. What are the potential that you see with this thing that we're working with, this initiative, this project, this thing that we're doing? So this creates just a space for where systemic design thinking can thrive. and partnerships are more likely to emerge, and it's easier to bring people along, especially when it comes to wicked problems, when it comes to complex problems, complex struggles, hurdles that we have, where you can't solve it alone, either as a company, a person, an institution, whatever. You need to collaborate. You need to collaborate with people in order to do this. The final thing is working with potential. Yeah, as it fuels a lot of positive energy and optimism. In Vibe and Tone, my consultant company that I have with a good friend of mine, we say that we become very optimistic through other perspectives, and we become very positive through action. Like we can take action. So there is a deep thing about this thing where I think something that is very important when it comes to working with sustainability, when it comes to wicked problems, societal problems, something in that scope. You need to have some energy and optimism. I think it's one of the most important things, and you need to be able to execute. You need to do something about it. If we don't do it, then we just become passive, and pessimism begins to arise, and we can't let that happen. We need to have some sort of positive energy and optimism, and I think potential, working with potential is a better approach of doing that. I can see it when I give counseling to my students. Those people who work with problems, they have a tendency to become more pessimistic. And those people who are really good at working with potential, they are much better at sharing their concerns into a larger network, and then become more positive, because all of a sudden, uh, as it says in the first one, we just expand these solutions when we work together with other people. So the power of potential lies in the ability to elevate our thinking, connect us systematically, and energize our efforts. Kind of cool. I hope you get to enjoy it. And just a short note on working with sustainability, because I think this is also a key part of what the assignment is. I usually work with, when I work with sustainability, I work with potentials, but I work with 3 levels of ambition, and these are actually directly from the project that I use in the Bildungsregion, because these are taken from the new European Bauhaus that I have also linked to in this presentation. But 3 different ambition levels, and the first one is to repurpose. It's about looking at the materials that we're using, making sure we don't leave too big of a footprint, reduce pollution, all the things that we see, and all the things that is going on at the moment. I think those are at the first ambition level. The highest ambition level is not there yet. That is the 3rd level, but this is the first level. And it's about adaptability and being able to recycle using biogenic materials, rethink how we use our products. So this one is the easiest one to do, the one that we can do right now. And so it has that level of ambition. The next ambition level is called to close the loop. And it's now we're beginning to think about it as a system, about closing the loop, about things going in circles, and that we're closing the loops, so we know what's going on all around us, not only with our own thing, but also with what are other people doing, our stakeholders, our suppliers, our customers. How is everything being looked at from a larger scale? So this ambition level 1 is more, I would say, focused on our own capacity, and where the next ambition level is so much more on the system and on a larger scale. So getting to know the whole food chain of what the things that we're doing is the next ambition level. And it takes a bit more energy, because now the complexity arises, because we also need to take our partners into consideration, all our stakeholders. So, and this is still only going to zero, to achieve zero pollution. And the one that I'm mostly interested, because I think we need to do that, is be more regenerative in our way. So not only going to zero, but actually beyond that. So to regenerate, to enhance biodiversity. This one, in the project that I'm doing, it's about not putting people in center of our work, but actually our whole ecosystem. And you just get completely different projects when you have the ecosystem, biodiversity in center of our work. It's a completely different game and something. So all of a sudden, you have to take nature, ecology, all those things into consideration. Not only like people need to thrive, but the whole system needs to thrive. But it's also really, really beautiful. But it's very complex and it takes a lot of time. That's why I say you need to have positive energy and you need to see the bigger picture. But this thing about working with regenerative design and also restoring biodiversity, I just love it, and it makes a lot of sense. But this is, in my own personal case, this is something that is one of my life goals. I know I need 30, 40 years to really do something about this. But knowing also on a smaller level, how can we do this? By choosing the right materials from ambition level one, by working together with other people, and also putting not ourselves in the center of the universe, but actually the whole ecosystem, the whole biodiversity and nature in center. So these are just my way, and this is the highest level of ambition. It's also a matter of having a completely different value system. So I hope this gave just some short insight to how you can work with the power of potential, going from problem to potential, and all the benefits that it gives your project, and also how ambitious do you want to be when it comes to sustainability. You can find more on this if you go and search for New European Bauhaus. I've also made some references to systemic design thinking. So you can also do that. I think it's called Design Council. You can Google that. But please ask me if you have any questions or email me. But I'm here to help, and I hope this gives a good introduction to what it is that I'm doing for those of you not attending our class tomorrow. Thank you so much.